So Vanity Fair has an interesting article from Gabriel Sherman about Donald Trump and more internal drama at the White House. Now, this could have huge consequences depending on how it shakes out, because I believe Donald Trump is unstable, although, again, he claims to be a very stable genius, and that, in fact, that's one of his top 2 traits in his life, that he has mental stability. Okay, if you got to brag about that, you might have stories like this. So we go to Vanity Fair. After the much hyped Nunes memo failed to deliver the narrative reset that the White House hoped for, Donald Trump is discussing a shakeup to his West Wing, 3 sources familiar with the president thinking told me. These people say the president is increasingly frustrated that members of his administration aren't going to war for him, and he's being encouraged by his daughter Ivanka to bring in new blood. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Now, here's why. Now, look, it's a little bit dangerous. John Kelly is the only guy keeping this guy on an even keel. John Kelly is his chief of staff, former general, and I'm not a fan of John Kelly. I think he's deeply right-wing. That's why he's part of the Trump administration, but at least he's not a lunatic, so he has kept out a lot of the crazies from the White House, tried to keep Donald Trump as even-tempered as he could possibly do, which is an unenviable task. Without John Kelly, these clowns will go to war with each other again. They'll form more circular firing squads, there'll be more leaks than ever, and Donald Trump will become more unstable than ever. The reason I say it's dangerous is because, of course, he's the president of the United States and has access to nuclear weapons, and that's the main concern about Donald Trump. The good part of that is that you can speed up the clock for when he's leaving office. If John Kelly goes tick, 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 until Trump blows himself up, hopefully he doesn't blow up the world along with him and not the economy, but certainly his own administration. So, which leads us to a GOP source that says that Trump and some of his closer advisors are frustrated with John Kelly because, quote, it's like Kelly views Trump as a mushroom. He wants to keep him in the dark and feed him a bunch of shit. Well, what else would you do with Trump? So what do you want to do? Oh yeah, Donald, go out there and tweet like crazy. You got him, dog. Oh, go on non-Fox News shows? Absolutely. Remember when you went on NBC and admitted that you fired the FBI director because he was conducting an investigation of Russia and your connections, which was obstruction of justice that you admitted publicly? Have at it, Hoss, do more of that. You're a genius, you got this, Donald. Of course, you have to keep him in the dark and then say, oh, Donald, man, things are going great. Are you kidding me? Whatever you do, you don't need to tweet, you don't need to go on TV. Everything's great, just keep it going. Talk to congressmen where you could tell them different things every other sentence and confuse the hell out of them and make things harder for the Republicans. No, you don't need to talk to congressmen. So look, I think Kelly's the only thing keeping this place together, and it looks like they've got their knives out for him. So let's do a couple of shifts here and see where it winds up. Here we go. Trump has recently told advisors he wants a killer, to continue with the analogy, to steer the White House's response to Robert Mueller's investigation and craft a midterm election message for him to stomp on this fall. John Kelly was a general, but apparently not killer enough. At the end, I'll tell you who he thinks are the real killers. That ought to be great. So who's driving this? Look at this. Ivanka, who's been frustrated with Chief of Staff John Kelly, has told her father that he needs people around him that will put his interests above their own. Quote, she wants to clean house, a Trump friend told me. You know, there's this theory that Ivanka Trump was the smart one in the Trump family. Now, that is a low bar. I mean, have you seen her father? Have you seen her brothers? So, but it turns out her and Jared Kushner, her husband, are going around shivving all of their political enemies inside the White House. Bannon's gone, some of the base, I mean, not much of the base, but he at least could help craft messages for the base. So that's gone. Priebus was with the establishment, he's gone. Sean Spicer's gone, everybody's gone. Scaramucci's gone. And so if you're wondering who shivved them all, well, the last man standing, or in this case, last woman standing, Ivanka, the one person he'll never ever fire. It's his daughter, the one person that he cherishes outside of himself. So Now she's frustrated that she's not in charge and that John Kelly's in charge. So here come, a couple of homemade shivs that have got John Kelly written all over it. But once you fire him too, who's left with experience in the White House? Who's ever done this before? So now you're going to have Ivanka and Jared running the whole White House? Recipe for disaster. More where that came from. In recent weeks, Trump has publicly clashed with Chief of Staff John Kelly after Kelly took a more active role in White House policymaking and messaging. Now, why? Why did they clash? Because John Kelly said some things on television that were sane, and Trump did not like that. He's like, why isn't he defending me 100% and calling me a stable genius? And why isn't he telling everybody the Democrats are all traitors? And well, because he has a shred of credibility and not much decency, but a little bit. And he feels bad about saying things that are patently untrue and ridiculous. So Trump, of course, is furious with him. Kelly's not going to help his cause because today, Manu Raju from CNN reporting, John Kelly on whether Trump has read the Schiff memo, that's the Democrats' answer to Nunes memo about the FBI, quote, no, it's quite lengthy. We are told it's 10 pages. So Trump will get mad at that. He's saying I didn't read a memo because it was 10 pages long. Did you read the memo? No. Why? It was 10 pages long. But he shouldn't say that. He should say I'm a stable genius and that I'm like a smart person. Okay, so tick, 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 tick. So he gets rid of Kelly. Who's he going to bring in? Brace for impact. According to the sources, Trump speaks regularly by phone with a quote unquote brain trust that includes Sean Hannity, oh, this is a doozy, Jason Miller, Corey Lewandowski, Reince Priebus is back, look at that, and RNC chairwoman Ronna Romney McDaniel. Okay. He's like, she sounds delicious. I like Ronald McDonald a lot. Bring her in. Okay, that's good. I'm going to bring Reince back in. I don't know why. I kind of miss the old fella. I like to make fun of how short he was, which is what he used to do when he was there. Okay. That's a murderous row of idiots. So you get rid of John Kelly, you bring in those guys. Tick, 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 tick. Look, we had the stock market go down significantly on Friday and Monday. It's come back up a little bit today, but still overall an absolute mess. Overinflated, just like we told you. We've got his poll numbers are not. They peaked at 42%, which is a terrible number. I guarantee. And then the poll after that, it already started to go back down. You've got Trump now going to try to respond to troubles that he's having. If they get rid of Kelly and they bring in they bring the old circus back into town, the level of instability we're going to have is going to be unprecedented. If you thought 2017 was bad, wait till you get a load of 2018 if these are the guys inside the tent. What you just watched was one of the videos that we do today, but we actually do a whole 2-hour show every single day. It's a podcast. You could watch it in video or listen to it as audio. You can download it, you can stream it, and you get it completely ad-free if you could become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.